Let's turn our attention to the Canadian Premier League as we are 48 hours away from the biggest day of the season thus far, and it is clearly the most exciting end to a Canadian Premier League regular season that we have ever seen. The only position that we know is locked in is Vancouver, who also found out this week that they are headed to CONCACAF Champions Cup. We'll try to touch on that in just a little bit. Up the Eagles. But we want to talk about the top five. We'll go through team by team because the other 1 through 7 still up for grabs this weekend. All 4 matches kicking off concurrently at 4 p.m. Eastern and 2 p.m. Mountain Time, where the Shield will be decided. We will have the seeding for 3, 4, and 5, and we've talked ad nauseum about the importance of finishing as high up the table as possible, the home games, avoiding the travel, etc. But let's start with Forge, Gareth Wheeler. They will claim the CPL Shield. All they have to do is not lose at home to York United in the 9:05 derby. Are they ready to defend their regular season title?
Well, based upon their Instagram, they certainly are. They're clearing off the shelf for silverware, but this is a team. What they're good at now is not losing. Okay, like this is typically what they've done, but they haven't been spectacular down the stretch of the season. Back to 3 draws in a row coming into this one. Just they seem like after that undefeated streak came to an end, they feel like they've been stuck in second gear. They haven't been bad, but they haven't been great either. And I think that Nana and Poma is a significant loss. They lack some attacking punch. Maybe a little bit more of a player that possesses some kind of threat to the back line of their opponents. I think they've kind of been kind of slow and sluggish at times. So yeah, they need this. A draw is good enough in this game. So not losing the way that things have been going is probably good enough to not only win the Canadian Premier League Shield, but host the 1-2 game against Atletico Ottawa and put themselves in pole position to go on and host another Canadian Premier League final, which would make them the favorites for the North Star Shield. That's what Forge are. It sounds like I'm being disrespectful. I'm not, because they were spectacular earlier in the year, but they've just been kind of good here over the last 2 months. Is being good enough to go on and potentially be the first club to win a double in the Canadian Premier League? Potentially, based upon the fact that no one else has really stepped up their game either. So they're the best of the bunch right now, but the best right now is simply just good.
Quickly, York, as much as the former York United player in me is like, this is a chance to really make a push. York United have beaten Forge twice since 2022. And back in 2022, I was on the pitch running. I cannot do what I did then. This is how long it has been. Forge has had York's number. So if you told me, okay, a draw was enough for York, or a draw means that Forge doesn't win, I would say, you know what, I'd take my odds of that. This might be a 2-2 thriller. But all Forge have to do at home is not lose. I think the Shield is in the bag for the Hammers.
Undefeated at home all season long.
Nice.
So.
And the last York United victory in Hamilton coming all the way back in 2023. They've only ever won there 4 times. So there's no doubt it's going to be tricky. But Jordan, I guess the question is, Forge are playing as though they can't lose the match. York United know that they probably need to win to have their fate in their hands and obviously get some help as well. Is there some dynamics within that? Forge, they don't need to win. A draw is fine. Is that the potential for a trap and an opening for a very hungry Mario Stachio-led York United who need the 3 points?
Yeah, maybe, but I just don't think that favors York. I think games where it's even and they can play their football and grow into a match, that favors them, where they can be steady, maybe miss a chance or two, but then they know they have quality and the resilience to put a chance away. But in a must-win match, because that's what it is for York to really have a good shot at taking things to another level in playoffs. Because you never look at it, oh, we want to make playoffs. We know that's done and dusted. They want to be better than they were last year. And to lose that semifinal game away at Atletico Ottawa, they need to feel like they want to finish 3rd or 4th. And for me, this is just possibly the worst draw that they could get, all playing at the same time. But anything's possible. The ball is round. It's just, for me, it just looks and smells like the Hammers are taking this one.
They have to go for it. I mean, they're 5th place right now. What's the worst case scenario if they lose this game? They stay in 5th. Who cares?
True.
They need to go on and win this and put the pressure on Halifax Wanderers, because the carrot being dangled is playing Halifax at home, potentially in a 4-5 game, or even the outside opportunity of them finishing third. Based upon if Cavalry don't pick up a point in their game. It's all to play for York United. That's what makes this game more intriguing. I said that Forge had drawn 3 straight games coming in. They actually beat Pacific over that span, so 1 win out of their last 4. They need to go and try to do just that, Adam. York United need to go there and be brave this weekend, because the reward, if they play Halifax at home in a 4-5, they beat Halifax Wanderers, because Halifax continue to really struggle away from home and are completely they're entirely unconvincing. And then if you can somehow, some way get the 3rd place game and avoid the play-in game, which they played in last year entirely, even better. So that's one of the many reasons why this game is huge. Forge need to go on and get a result to come away with the Canadian Premier League Shield. But the possibility with a York United win, what that could mean for them, they're not playing for a draw. They need to come out, be aggressive, try to make Forge uncomfortable. And based on Forge's recent form, I think they can do just that. So go out and be brave, and hopefully the reward comes York United.
I'm gonna piggyback off of the question you asked me, and just what Wheel said as well, Jenko, is that watching York United this year, I love the football that they play. I love that they're interchangeable, that Mario Eustachio had that 3 in the back, but also switched to the 4. But you've taken in every single game. York doesn't throw anything different. They might have a day where it works and everything goes, but it's never like, oh, let's put 2 up top and it really works. I mean, Sean Hundle came in when they played Pacific, and you kind of had Altabelli do that as well. But Wheels, I totally agree with you to play that way and be aggressive. Just for 27 games, I haven't seen them be that type of team. They're very slow. They grow into a match, and in a must-win game, you hope that it changes. But I just don't have anything to show that they could do that in this.
They score every game. They almost score every. They've scored in 8 consecutive games. Goals aren't my concern. The fact that Frank Stirring now comes back in, returning from injuries, and they've shown that they have that second gear, and they have multiple attacking options that can go out and burn you. I wouldn't sleep on York in this game. That's what I'm saying.
So you're saying Atletico
Forge hasn't looked like Forge the last couple months. They just
Atletico Ottawa.
Just to prod that along, you think of, and yes, the Canadian Championship run is a factor here, but just quickly to go through the results, you mentioned the draws, 1-1 away to Cavalry, 1-1 at home to Vancouver. They beat the snot out of Pacific's teenagers 4-0, give them credit for playing the opponent in front of them, but then it's 1-1 to Atletico Ottawa, a 2-1 loss to Valor, only 1-0 win at home to Halifax, and that was after they got humbled by 4-1 against Cavalry. Forge have not looked like they are going to scare anyone for a while, and yet it is the constant conundrum in the Canadian Premier League. They find ways not to lose matches when it matters. But if I'm York, I'm saying this is the best chance we have had in a very long time. So let's park that over there. And let's talk about Atletico Ottawa in Halifax. Gareth rightfully mentions the away form. Now, the Wanderers did go away recently and get a result, so there is something there. But if they win and Vancouver do them a big solid, they could go as high as 3rd, depending on how the results go. But what that could mean, they host a 3rd place game, they win that game, they're only 1 match away on the road from heading to the Canadian Premier League final. It's all out there in the ether against an Atletico Ottawa side who nearly put Jimmy Brennan and I to sleep in their match at the weekend when they had a chance to tie Forge. Fascinating match. What are you expecting out of this one, Wheels?
Well, for Halifax, I mean, they need to come out and win this game. They're playing at home first and foremost. And if they win, they will assure themselves a home playoff date. That is critical. You mentioned that Halifax won their first away game since, I believe, the second month of the season. That came against another non-playoff team, however, in Valor. Like, when it comes to the top 5 or the top 4 other teams in the Canadian Premier League, they can't win away at home. So coming away with the result here is absolutely crucial for Halifax Wanderers. And they look so much better playing at Wanderers grounds. I wonder if Forge, because Forge with a draw or a win is going to, if Forge get a little bit of a lead and Atletico Ottawa know that they can't catch them, does that change maybe the tactics of Diego Mejia and Atletico Ottawa. Like, just say Forge are up 2-0 early in the second half and Halifax and Atletico Ottawa are drawn. Like, there's no result that could give Ottawa the shield. Perhaps they start looking ahead to next week, because scoreboard watching will be a thing. It has to be. It only makes sense. And perhaps that puts Halifax in an even better position. So look, I think the team under the most pressure this weekend is Halifax Wanderers, to come up with a good result at home, send them into the playoffs on a positive note, because there's been a lot of dips this season. And if they can go out and ensure that they're hosting a playoff game and giving their fans a chance to celebrate a potential first ever home playoff win, that would be absolutely huge. So I'm looking for the Wanderers. Get Coimbra back in that. They need Thiago Coimbra on the field if they have any chance come playoff time. They have the players to go on and do it. The problem is we haven't seen a complete performance anywhere near enough. But this is a chance this week against another playoff opponent in Atletico Ottawa.
The two things that stick out to me about this match with Atletico Ottawa and being at Halifax at Wanderers grounds is that it's going to be a revenge match for the 2-0 loss that they had earlier on in the season, where it was the worst Atletico Ottawa played this year. They're going to play much better on grass and at that stadium. But what else sticks out to me is you look at this Halifax side and you're like, do you have enough to get over the line? But I also think when you think about Atletico Ottawa, it was the October 5th match tying 3-3. That's going to keep them up at night. They only lost two matches. They only lost two matches this season.
Last weekend, they blew it. They blew their chance, honestly.
They were fantastic, but the 3-3 game, and people might talk about, was pop-off side, and that is the one with that squad where they're like, yeah, we have to get the 3 points there. Because you do that, it's changed the whole vibe going into this weekend, and you control your fate in some degree. But now you're there score watching. Everything has to go your way. And in football, when you have to start doing that, it rarely does.
They blew the last 2 weeks, Jordan. Forge opened the door for Atletico Ottawa.
Literally.
And they said, I'll take the next train. It's been such a good season, an historically good season for Atletico Ottawa, which is kind of grinded to a halt here over the last couple of weeks.
Any other year, they do have a campaign that they win. Outright, they're feeling good going into the last game of the season. The only caveat to that is there's a team in orange that was very, very good for long spells of the season. They've had a slumber for the last 6 weeks, but the first 5 months, they're impenetrable. They were just outrageously good.
And yet, a Forge draw in the 9:05 derby and an Ottawa win would see them finish with identical records. The difference is Forge has the one win over them from 3 draws as well. Last thing to point out for Halifax and Ottawa, some records could fall. Sam Salter, we know he's going to win the Golden Boot. I think Coimbra needs to score 8, so I'm pretty confident in the money there. However, Salter still chasing 20 goals. And from the Atletico Ottawa perspective, David Rodriguez, an assist gives him 10, which would be a new single season record, and a goal and an assist. He'd be the first 10-goal, 10-assist player in Canadian Premier League history.
Nice one.
Last to talk about today in terms of the playoff ramifications are Cavalry and Vancouver. I guess we should lump in quickly with Vancouver first. They don't know how to lose anymore. This is an incredible run from a team that went all the way to the Canadian Championship final. As a result, they are headed to CONCACAF Champions Cup despite knowing they are going to finish last. So Afshin Gotby, you can say whatever you want about the gaffer. He was truly right about the best last place team in the history of the league.
I still want that shirt.
I still want that shirt. We can get them printed. We'll send a DM to the guy who printed it so to make sure we're sharing the love. But Wheels, how much of an opponent is Vancouver going to be for Cavalry? In theory, they have nothing to play for, but they've had nothing to play for and have played some pretty good football.
First off, it's a feel-good story because this team that was flailing in the Vancouver FC Eagles has gone to one that has emerged and is now fun to watch and will be outstanding to watch as they've now qualified for the CONCACAF Champions Cup. What I hope is that this is the shot in the arm for this club and their fans that they so richly deserve. And this might build some momentum heading into next season because quite clearly on the field, this team is outstanding to watch. young players thriving, playing with confidence, playing in a system which can bring out the best of them. And it's been a really solid finish to the season. They're the one team that it's got to be like right now saying, really, the season's ending now? We're undefeated in our last 5. We played in a Voyageurs Cup final. So look, don't sleep on them. They went to Hamilton Stadium a couple of weeks ago after that disappointing loss in the Canadian Championship final, after being exhausted with a makeshift team, and they came away with a 1-1 draw. Okay. Cavalry has not been good enough where they can sleep on anyone. They haven't won in their last 3 games overall. They got the band back together, but the band's still trying to get on the same on the same sheet as one another. Good news for Cavalry is they get back Ali Musi and Shami Chom, 2 players who are there noticeably better with those 2 players in the team, both coming back from international duty. Both will go straight back into the starting 11 as well. Again, this Cavalry team on paper, we keep on saying it, is good enough to beat anyone in the Canadian Premier League on their day. But they have rarely shown it. Does it all come together? It's not even just the result this week, Adam, like sealing 3rd place. I think they need to show it to themselves that everything can click just like that. And going into playoffs, they have something to build off of, because it's kind of 1 step forward, 1 step back. Like, that's been the vibe, that's been the feel. So it's time for them to show that they are that legitimate contender. They are by virtue of the players that they have and the manager and all that good stuff, but they need to go and do it this weekend, especially away from home where they've really struggled. This is no slam dunk, them getting a result here at Vancouver. So another compelling game to keep track of.
It's about vibes and mentality going into the last match of the season. And everyone knows last year, people feared Cavalry, feared playing them at Spruce Meadows, feared playing them on the road, feared playing them in a parking lot. They need to make sure this last match, the 28th match, that they score goals and abundantly, and they're playing that high pressing, like free flowing type of football, so that they can gain and feed off of that momentum going into a semifinal game. Because there's something that you adore and very likable about this Cavalry side. But Wheels is right. There was flickers this season. Like, the light was on, then it was off. It needs to be very bright, and it needs to be from the get-go. And if they play like that, they're a sleepy underdog, which I think favors that side as well, being the underdog and not expected to win matches.
Well, they've been brilliant against Vancouver. In fact, in 14 matches, they have never lost to them through 90 minutes of football, and they've had success at Willoughby as well, with 2 wins and 3 draws over their 5 previous appearances. Quickly, and I'm going to try to do this quickly, I encourage you to go to canpl.ca if you want this to be a little bit slower, but if Cavalry draw and Halifax wins, it's important to note that the Cavs hold the head-to-head tiebreaker over the Wanderers, but York hold the head-to-head advantage over Cavalry, and Halifax own the head-to-head over York. So needless to say, Gareth, while we're watching all 4 of these matches and you guys are doing your whip-around show, there's going to be some number crunching. What are you most looking forward to about Saturday?
Valor and Pacific. Absolutely. The battle for 6th place.
Come on now. It's going to be a great game in Langford. A season send-off is always worthy of paying attention to. And you'll get Nigel Reid, so what more could you want?
Sorry, Nigel. He always has a great match call. What I just love about this, it's very, very rare when you have the top 5 positions of any league still up for grabs going into the final day of the season. That's why they call it the outcome, because until the final whistle goes, we're not sure what the outcome will actually be. This is outstanding. It's been a great year in the Canadian Premier League, entirely competitive. We kind of wish that those bottom 3 teams kind of got their act together a little bit earlier, because they buried themselves so early that they weren't really part of the race. But the top 5 teams have all shown something, and it's still very much up for grabs, not only where they finish in the table, but how consequential that is to a potential playoff run as well. So it's going to be dynamic. It's going to be must watch. And it's very cliche to say, but I'm expecting the unexpected, like Big Brother. Like, I feel like there's going to be some twists and turns along the way, and I'm not quite sure what to expect come Saturday.
Can't wait. I have nothing more to say. Let's get to it. Beautiful.
All right, Gareth, before we go quickly, notice you're wearing a pretty snazzy turtleneck and a vote yes for Jesper. Turtleneck.
Okay.
Anything you'd like to say to Nathan Vanstone, who I think express shipped that all the way from BC Place?
He did. Nathan Vanstone, by the way, is the gold standard
Yeah.
of communications,
Legend amongst
PR
men.
teams, not only across Canadian, in North American football. He is outstanding at what he does. So typically, you see all these people that are younger and better looking than me getting things sent to them, and they're unboxing and they're showing it to everyone on Instagram. I'm not doing that junk. I will just wear this because what a concept. Sometimes when teams send out merch to get you to vote for their players for numerous awards, you're kind of like, okay, it's kind of cheese, it's kind of whatever. But this, my friends, is gold. Jordan Wilson and I, covering the Vancouver Whitecaps through their CONCACAF Champions Cup run, would regularly remark on the man in tan, Jesper Sorensen. It didn't matter if he was in Central America. He was wearing the turtleneck tan sweater. That was his look. And as soon as he changed it, we got worried about him. This is his trademark look. So the Vancouver Whitecaps sent out the tan turtleneck mock sweater, appropriate for this time of year. But this is Sorensen's look. I kind of wish that I just had a little bit less hair. I'm getting there.
You could shave it. No, that's in your power.
I think that this is a genius PR idea. They sent out a bunch of buttons for the team. We all, by the way, did this segment like a few weeks ago when we were completely advocates for Sorensen for a number of different reasons to go on and win the MLS Coach of the Year. So this wasn't even required. They sent a nice little note to the OneSoccer family, thanking us for our coverage of the team and just to back Jesper, if we like, as Coach of the Year as they head into the MLS Cup playoffs. I just feel like this is a really funny, like this is
very good.
It is very, very good. But I feel like it's worthwhile just pointing out how much the Vancouver Whitecaps have got right this year.
Yeah.
Like previous years, there's a bunch of stuff that kind of brought the club down and what happened with their own stadium last year. But everything, it just seems like they played every chord right this year. From Muller to Sorensen, from the way that they've engaged with the community, their presentation, and the little things, just the little things they continue to get right. So it's a club that's on it right now, and we will be watching and hoping that the lone Canadian team in the MLS Cup playoffs goes on a memorable run. But this was a really nice touch. Jordan, you kind of got your own version on right now.
It's quarter zip season.
Oh, we loved the look, didn't we? We loved the look.
No one rocks it better than Jesper, but you're a close second, Wheels. It looks good on you, man. Close second. I'm not gonna lie to you.
The Vancouver Whitecaps will clinch the number 1 seed in the Western Conference with a win or a draw against Dallas or a San Diego loss or draw at Portland on decision day. We know you'll be watching the outcome, but if you wanted a second screen and keep an eye on the Caps after all was said and done, we would understand that as well. Vote for Jesper, everybody. Congratulations to the Whitecaps on a great regular season.
Jesper.
It's great.